Hi, welcome to Ladies of Another View on Back, and we are going to have some fun today.
We have fun every day, Patty. We have fun every day.
We do, but we're going to really have North Dakota fun today.
That you're all going to feel it.
Yep,
Go to North Dakota.
And we broadcast outside of North Dakota, so you might want to move here after today's show. But first, let me introduce our hosts, Jan and Mary, and we have with us today Kaelee. Knoell. Sorry, just drawing a blank here because we're not professionals. So
Well, yes, we are. We are.
We're working on it. Kaelee Knoell is with the Medora Foundation, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about Medora, but I want to find out, what do you do, what's your job, and what are you doing with them?
Yeah, so I am the marketing manager for the Theodore Roosevelt Medora Foundation. So I tell everyone I have the most fun job in North Dakota because
you do.
Nobody's ever mad to be on vacation.
Right.
So it makes my job pretty easy. Yeah, so this is going to be my 4th summer with them. And it has just been a whirlwind of coming out of college. I actually asked for my own job.
Nice.
I emailed Brandy Hudson-Buehler. I said, I want to intern with you. I know that you don't do spring interns. And he said, okay, great. I'll pass it on to marketing. And my boss, Justin Fisk, is very much, he likes that kind of personality. And so he brought me in and he said, yep, great. We'd love to have you intern here. And just a month later, they offered me a full-time job. And it's been nonstop since then. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Now, we're assuming that everybody knows all about Medora, because if you don't, you should.
And you will now.
You will, because we're going to watch this little news clip about Medora.
In the Badlands of North Dakota, on the outskirts of the Theodore Roosevelt National Park, dinner theater on a grand scale.
Enjoy the show, guys.
An annual tradition for families like the Taylors.
We would always come here as a child with my family, and so when I got married and had kids, that was my goal.
Performer Chet Wallen has been coming since he was 2 years old.
This is the place I wanted to go more than any place else in the world.
Now he takes the stage with his wife Candace every night of the summer.
The show is brand new every single year.
Part variety show, part history lesson.
I never would have been president had it not been for my time in North Dakota.
The Medora musical tells the story of Teddy Roosevelt, complete with a charge up San Juan Hill. And every night, kids in the audience make a charge of their own.
I want to be the star girl in the musical.
But the real star isn't on stage.
The love for this area, the scenery out here, you can't beat that.
I recognize that kid. He went to school with my daughter.
Oh, for fun.
Well, that's the thing about North Dakota is it's you know, we see each other. Everybody goes to Medora at some point, or a lot of us do, and it feels real hometown and quaint. But Medora is way more than just the musical, right?
Yes, definitely. So we have 3 kind of primary attractors, the Medora musical being one, but we're right at the entrance to Theodore Roosevelt National Park, and so much outdoor adventure, whether it's mountain biking, hiking, trail riding on your horses, it is all so prevalent right in Medora. Beyond the national park, we have the Mattahey Trail, which is 150 miles of single-track mountain bike trail. And it's been dubbed one of the most grueling single-track trails in North America. And then we also have Bully Public Golf Course, so a whole different thing than the musical scene with those couples and gentlemen that like to come out and golf. And so, yeah, that's kind of
But isn't
the
the
top
golf
3.
course, isn't that one of the top 50 in the nation, too?
Yeah, so it hit a top 100 list, and we're actually doing some renovations to it this upcoming year to repair it a little bit, move it away from the Little Missouri so that it can stop flooding every season, and just keep it on that top 100 public golf course list so that more people come on out and golf it.
And the Mattahey Trail, the bike trail, people come from all across the country to ride that, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. We have a wonderful foundation outside of the Theodore Roosevelt Medora Foundation that puts on all kinds of bike races during the summer, and we'll have 1,000 participants from representing every state in the U.S. And so it is such a big thing out there, and you don't even think of the biking and hiking aspect of it when you immediately think of Medora. But I mean, the landscape obviously yields to it a little bit more than the rest of North Dakota does. And so yeah, then beyond that, there's just so much history with how the town was started and kind of the Harold Schaefer aspect of being resurrected, and so many fun shops downtown and different shows. And so, yeah, there's something for everyone, definitely.
And there are so many different shows. There might be a magic show or this little music entertainment, and then there's museums, and you feel like you're stepping back into the past.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
It has a small town, old-fashioned feel to it.
Yes, definitely. The charm of Medora, I think, is just that it feels the same as when I was a kid, because I grew up going to Medora with my grandparents, and it feels the same, but so much has changed when you step back and look. And so I think that is so much of the charm of growing up and taking, some families bring 5 generations of family members out there. And so,
That's
yeah.
cool. I saw that there's over 4 million people that have been through there.
Yeah, over 4 million people have seen the musical itself. We average about 120,000 people a summer. And with the new Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library Museum coming, we're anticipating to see that number grow with the number of travelers that we'll have.
Great. So why don't you tell us how Medora started back in the cattle ranching days and then the Teddy Roosevelt days?
Yeah, so if you know Rolf Sletton, he wrote a book called Boom, Bust, and Resurrection. And if that doesn't explain Medora kind of perfectly, so the boom era really started when the Marquis de Moore and his wife Medora von Hoffman came out west.
From France.
Yes, from France. They built a 26-room hunting cabin, as they called it. It
Wow.
is a mansion on a hill, for sure. And they started a meat packing plant and all kinds of cattle ranching, and it was definitely the Wild West out here. There was everybody's land was everybody's land, and you stole cattle, all those kinds of things. And he had a really hard time running a business out here because he had this wonderful idea to do refrigerated rail cars to cut out the middlemen in Chicago that had to refreeze meat. Well, the people in Chicago would say, oh, your train's not going to go through. We're going to let it sit until your refrigeration melts. So it never made it to New York City, which is where it was going. And so they didn't stay in Medora very long. And during the same time that they were there, Theodore Roosevelt came out, and he initially came out for a bear hunt. And the teddy bear, if you don't know, is actually named after Theodore Roosevelt because he refused to shoot a cub on his last day of his bear hunt. And then he came out a year later when his wife and mother both passed away on the same day, Valentine's Day.
Oh boy.
And he wrote in his diary, "The light of my life has gone out." And he came out to North Dakota to renew his spirit, to learn how to work hard, become a cowboy. And he went on to say that he would have never been president had it not been for his time in North Dakota. And
I also want to point out that you can tour the Marquis' home is still out there, and you do tours, right? All throughout the summer?
Yes, you can tour the Chateau de Moore. That's actually open year-round. And then Theodore Roosevelt's cabin from one of his ranches, the Maltese Cross, is right at the south entrance to the national park, so just steps from downtown Medora. And then his other cabin, the Elkhorn Ranch, is about 20 miles outside of Medora, also part of the national park.
So that's north of Medora, right?
Yes.
We only have about 30 seconds left, but I was at a fantastic garage sale in Mandan, North Dakota, and I actually bought a hutch, and they said that it came from the North Ranch.
Really?
So I have that in my
cool.
possession. I've been thinking about talking to the library to see if they'd be interested in it.
Right, yeah.
So, but we only have a few minutes, or a few seconds,
Right,
I
but
should say.
we're gonna talk about how I originally came upon this story because there's help wanted ads for all kinds of jobs to work in Medora this summer. We'll talk about that when we come back with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county.
Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
Beck Communications is now hiring independent sales agents around the state. We're looking for highly motivated individuals to take advantage of this opportunity, selling advertising for our news and sports programming on Beck TV and sponsorships for the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team. Independent sales agents will make 50% commission on their completed sales for all products. Beck TV is the leader in broadcasting local sports, owner of the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team, and originator of newly launched news opinion programming. Submit your application now at careers@bechtel.coop. This is an exciting opportunity you can't pass up. 50% commission for independent sales agents now hiring at Beck Communications.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View. I'm back, and we are joined with Kaelee Knoell, and she's the marketing manager of the Theodore Roosevelt Foundation. We talked a little bit about the history. We got up to Theodore Roosevelt. So what happened after that?
Yeah, so after that, Medora really sat pretty dormant for a while. There were local cowboys and ranchers that lived there, but up until 1960, the roads weren't paved, there wasn't running water, and so it kind of sat. And Harold Schaefer bought the Rough Riders Hotel. He tried to give it to the Historical Society. They said, we don't want it. So he decided to fix it up. He then...
Tell us who Harold Schaefer is, because we all know. But
yes, okay.
Yeah, for the rest of the world.
Harold Schaefer, we call him kind of the father of modern Medora. But if you know of Mr. Bubble or Snowy Bleach, Glass Wax, those kind of household products, he was a North Dakota businessman, and he made all of those under his company called the Gold Seal Company. And so then he kind of got his start in Medora with the Rough Riders Hotel, then buying the Burning Hills Amphitheater, where we host the Medora musical every year, and eventually creating the Theodore Roosevelt Medora Foundation. And so that's kind of how he got his ties to Medora, and really how the Medora that everybody comes to visit and know and love got its start. And so if it wasn't for his wife, too, they were very much a dynamic duo with their love for performing arts and Medora as a whole, and so they put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into making Medora what it is today.
That's interesting. My uncle John Anderson worked for Harold Schaefer.
Okay.
And in fact, he took us in the computer room one time, and these computers are about 8 feet tall and really big and square. I'd never seen one before in my life.
Long time ago,
A long time ago. But anyway, so we always got Mr. Bubble and that kind of stuff. It was so fun.
Very cool. Yeah.
And you mentioned during the commercial break that Shyla would sometimes be on her hands and knees scrubbing floors and doing whatever it took to get things started. And
yes. So obviously it takes a village to run Medora in the summer, so that we can host up to 400,000 people that visit the national park and the Medora musical and all of those things. And we always have kind of a lull with our recruiting between students and our international employees that come to help us. And so before the first Medora musical opened, Shyla Schaefer was on her hands and knees in the floor of the bathroom of the Rough Riders Hotel, scrubbing the floor to make sure that it was ready for guests when they arrived. And she always said that if I wouldn't do this job, then I can't expect other people to do this job. And so she just was such a wonderful leader for our employees that come out every year, and such a good standard. One of our values is excellence in hospitality, and she lived that out so fully. with
And
it.
I've been there so many times, and I have only had nothing but positive experiences. And the reason I got the idea to, hey, let's do a show on this, is I received an email about some of the job openings, and there's even bonuses if you refer somebody. So tell us about the kind of jobs this summer.
Yeah, so we have a definite need in our food service department right now is where we're seeing a big hole with chefs. So if chefs sign on now, they can get up to an $800 sign-on bonus and then a $200 referral bonus for anybody that they refer and is hired after that. And so that's a really great incentive to come out and work for Medora. We also have some internships still open. So those college-age students that are looking to come out and get skills in their degree, retail positions open, jobs out at the golf course, which I think you had a family member.
Yeah, my nephew Nick Lee Tang used to work at the golf course, and he was actually 16 years old when he wanted to work for Medora so bad, but he couldn't because he was a minor. And so my sister Ellen actually lived in Medora with him in the summer. They brought their camper over, and so they stayed until he turned age 18, and then she ended up being a volunteer out there. And so there's volunteer opportunities as well, which is so interesting.
Now, what about the international employees? One thing I've really enjoyed, you can go to a restaurant and talk with your server from all different countries, from Germany, from, Taiwan, I think even. We've just been amazed at some of the countries. Is that still happening with COVID?
Yeah, so our workforce diversity is definitely something that's part of the charm of Medora. We typically have representatives from over 25 states and kind of 20 countries that make up our workforce. And we are still getting some of those international employees, especially those that work at different resorts within the United States throughout the year. They are able to come back up, which is just wonderful, and I love working with them. And they just really energize Medora. And I think just the diversity as a whole, whether it's our international employees, our local students, our kids that come from ranches just outside of town. We have some wonderful employees that come from Texas. They've been coming every year. They're a couple, and they just wanted to have a fun retirement job. And so they come. He runs the candy store. She runs another retail shop. And so the workforce is just so diverse, and it feels like such a family because you're surrounded with so many different people and different cultures, and so it's really fun.
Even as a visitor, it feels like family. And oftentimes I see, like, you can go to one place and see somebody, and then later on you'll see them working at another place. Have you had that?
I've had that experience as well. I mean, there's got to be other things that they come out there for besides the musical as far as, working. It's not just retail and the musical. Like you said, there's the golf course, but there's like nearby ranches. They have like the trail rides and stuff. Can they work in places like that too, or is that family run?
Yeah, so things like the Medora trail rides, we hire people out there. The new zip line, so if you want to be an attractions operator, you can work at zip line and mini golf, all the way up to outside of the foundation, but working at the chateau as a historical interpreter, or with the national park as a groundskeeper, or those different kinds of things. There's all kinds of jobs in Medora, and then specifically within the foundation, we hire for all different kinds of aspects of work.
One of the first time that we were going to go stay, my sister Ellen worked there her first year out of high school or college. Anyway, Mom was going to take us camping, and it's like we didn't have a camper or a tent or anything. And she said, well, if we sleep like with a rope around us outside on the grass, the rattlesnakes won't crawl over the rope. And it's like, so of course, we're up for this. But anyway, it ended up my mom and I think 4 of us kids sleeping in a Mercury Montego overnight because we were all afraid to sleep out because of the rattlesnakes. But anyway, accommodations are much nicer nowadays.
Oh yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I had to twist my parents' arms. Quite a few years ago, they came to visit, and they didn't want to go on a long drive to Medora. I said, oh, you guys are going to love it. They really didn't want to go, but oh my gosh, they just couldn't stop talking about it after they'd been there. They loved it so much. And I remember my mom saying, this is going to stay with me for a long time.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I tell everybody, if they're having a bad day, I say, go sit downtown for just 2 minutes even, just right in the heart of downtown, and listen to the laughter and all of the families having such a good time and talk with some of the guests, because in that moment, you know what we're doing is so important for Medora and North Dakota as a whole, and all of the families that come to visit us and make traditions like I was able to make when I was a kid growing up and going to Medora, and so it's a really wonderful feeling.
So we only have about 30 seconds, but let's not forget North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame is also out in Medora. So
Yes.
that's kind of, and that's fun to see too.
Yes, definitely.
Spoken from a true cowgirl. So thank you so much, Kaelee, for joining us, and I think maybe we'll see you around Medora this summer.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I hope, yeah.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll be right back with Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Indoor football is back in Bismarck. Bucks football season is right around the corner. Grab a friend or family member for a night of action-packed, hard-hitting entertainment. The Bucks open at the Bismarck Event Center May 8th as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. Catch the sweetest seats in the house right on the sidelines with VIP service at a Bucks turf table. Available now for single-game purchases. Secure your tickets today by calling 701-595-0771. Bucks football, half the field and double the fun.
At Beck Communications, we've been planning for your future. Over the past decade, we've placed nearly 200,000 miles of dedicated fiber optics in the ground. Enough fiber optic strands to circle the world 8 times. Taking no shortcuts, we connected every home and business in our service area with dedicated fiber optics. It's your personal, unrestricted, unthrottled connection to the world. Best of all, this dedicated fiber means you do not share your connection. We call this intimate dedicated connection Beck Fiber.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. When you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car!
But how will we?
The car! Your offer's been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing.
But how will we?
The closing!
Beck News brings you real people and real news. Every weekday on KNDB, KNDM, and KRDK. Start your evening with the Dr. Duke Show at 4. Take a fresh look at current events with Ladies of Another View at 4:30. Go down the road with Joel at 5:30. Watch No Apologies with Becker at 9. Cap off your night with No Filter with Debbie at 10. Beck News. Real people, real news.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. And we have Andrea joining us from Florida. But we think it's fitting that we're going to be talking about North Dakota because she really is a North Dakota
And she
raised.
can't wait to get back here.
Yes.
She's just dying to get back here. We know it.
Are
Because
you
why would you want to
homesick?
spend time in Florida?
Yeah, what's down there? I mean,
Yeah.
really.
You got to be homesick.
Got
right?
all this up here.
I mean, all the sun and all the sand. I mean, it's a little
Well, besides
tiresome.
that, we got that Missouri River right down here. I mean, there's a little ice there right now, but we'll find it for you.
And I'm not from here. I've chosen to be here. Mark, my husband, is not from here. We've decided this is the best place to be. And actually, I came across a list while I was doing some research. And for you that are not from North Dakota, we're sorry. But you can learn a little bit about one of the states. And who knows, I have friends that have moved here later on in life, so it could be you. But North Dakota was rated number 14th in the country which is not bad.
No, out of 50?
Yeah.
Considering we don't have a lot of shoreline or palm
Right.
trees or
Yeah.
no. But we do have all
Exactly.
4 seasons, and that's what's so nice about it.
We have some things are better than the ocean, right, Andrea? What do you like about North Dakota? Why do you keep coming back?
Well, I'll tell you my number one most favorite thing in North Dakota, and the one thing that I come back for every single year, and that is caramel rolls.
Oh, caramel rolls.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
I know you weren't expecting me to say that. My grandmother used to make them. She still makes them. They're delicious. And that what you think of, what we all think of when we have a caramel roll, doesn't exist outside of North Dakota and maybe Minnesota, I think. They
It's
have
true.
sticky buns that have nuts on them. They have cinnamon rolls with frosting on them. They have maybe monkey bread is probably about as close as you could get. But if you want a caramel roll, you gotta go to North Dakota.
So can I give a really quick recipe on how to do it really quick? All right, just buy a bag of the frozen ones, the frozen cinnamon rolls. They're all rolled up. Then take a big cake pan, spray it with your stuff, your Pam or whatever. Go ahead, dump brown sugar in. I don't measure any of this, but dump brown sugar in so it kind of covers the bottom, and then sprinkle a little bit of salt, splash a little bit of caramel, and then put a little bit of cream on top so it makes a nice kind of gooey mess. And that's all you need. Plop those frozen cinnamon rolls on top, let it set out overnight. Next morning, put it in the oven for half hour or 35 minutes, and you have caramel rolls.
Wow, I have a friend that makes it with ice cream instead of regular cream.
Ice cream.
Oh, that would add the sugar then. You wouldn't
They
use the
were
sugar.
to die for.
I bet that would be good.
Okay, so see, even if you're not from North Dakota and you're listening right now, you too can have
2
some of the
recipes
best
right
caramel
here.
rolls,
You
right,
too can
right?
drool.
Okay,
It
now
is amazing.
what else, Andrea? I've got to believe there's more than just the caramel rolls that keeps you coming back.
For sure. There's the long summer days. I do love those late evenings when the sun hangs low in the sky and just refuses to set. I think they're perfect for long goodbyes.
Oh, that's sweet.
You know,
Almost romantic.
I have family and friends on the East Coast, and I sometimes forget. I'm calling people at 10 at night because the sun is still up.
Right.
And it's 11 o'clock there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I didn't know it was so late. Because, yeah, the day just doesn't end for a long time.
Yeah, it seems
Well,
like
and
even...
here you can be sitting outside, you could be driving and think, oh, the sun is setting. I'll go to the beach and watch the sunset. If you're having that thought, you're too late. The sun crashes out here. You are not going to make it.
Well, daylight savings time does help us a little bit with that, but you know, we have a lot of things that are even more powerful, I think, here. I'm a transplant as well. I moved here when I was in first grade. So, you know,
From where?
From Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
So Wisconsin, their tree removal project isn't quite as complete as North Dakota's, but then we do get those sunsets. And, you know, I was talking to my girls who do not live in North Dakota anymore, and I said, what do you miss about it? And they said the big wide open skies.
Yes.
You can see stars. You know, even from the middle of town with all the light pollution, you can still look up and see so much that you can't see in the bigger cities and on the places that have obstructions, I guess.
You know, I'm from Michigan, trees everywhere as you go up north. Oregon, oh my gosh, like
Yes.
tree galore. And then we were in western Montana. And when we came here 30 years ago, I thought, man, it's just so open. But now, if I go anywhere else, it just feels claustrophobic. I want to see the open skies and see where I'm going. I love the open spaces.
Yep, wide open plains, you know, it's just amazing. And I too, I guess I would love the long summer nights, even the short winter days for that matter. It's so nice that we have 4 seasons. You have the spring, summer, winter, and fall, and every one of them has something good about it. But nothing better than a 3-day blizzard. I mean, I know that sounds bad, but actually it's a lot of fun. You get a lot of family time, play games, watch TV, but nothing better than a 3-day blizzard. I don't know, I just love the outdoorsy type stuff. There's lots, like she said, with the hiking and biking out in Medora. We've actually taken our horses out there and done the Matahay Trail with horses, and that's a lot of fun. My kids do rodeo, so we do spend a lot of time summer evenings at different rodeos and whatnot. And I don't know, it's just the wide open spaces. It's really nice, really fun to be around.
You know, I asked some friends on Facebook, I said, if you're not from here, why did you come here? And I really liked Christy Collins, said that she loves the respect for people that you have here, this love of big family, and it's really a family-oriented place.
Can I share a story real quick? Okay, so this happened about 5 years ago, and it was cold. It was probably right before Christmas, and I was walking into Kohl's department store, and there was another couple coming, and they must not have been from here. Anyway, so I am holding the door, and they were still probably 20 feet away, and this lady looks at the guy, and he goes, you know, he said, it's okay. And again, she looks at him like, what about, he goes, that's what they do in North Dakota. They get the doors for you. And she was flabbergasted that someone would hold a door open. They were still 20 feet away, but I held the door open, but that's just what we do.
It is, and it's unusual. It doesn't happen everywhere. Go ahead, Jan.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that North Dakota is one of those places that when you're young, you know, people leave to go find themselves, but then they figure out when they want to raise a family, they come home. And Andrea was visiting with us last night, and it's like, yeah, North Dakota is where Grandma lives.
Right, yeah, people do come back for the family. I want to finish with Christy Collins, because she said you can find common sense here. And that's why we have our show, right? This is a common sense show. Ladies of Another View on Beck. Lots of common sense you're not going to get anywhere else on any other TV station around. And also so she's proud to have it as her adopted home. Now, I have some friends who moved here from San Diego, California just 2.5 years ago. And I'm always apologizing to my friend Sandy for the weather. And she said she loves it, which I don't get. I mean, there's a lot to love, but
I love the weather.
The summer and spring and fall.
And honestly, if the wind's not blowing, it's not cold. It can be 20 below, and if the wind's not blowing, the sun really, it is warm.
It's crisp and beautiful. And
fresh.
So her husband, Tom, said he likes the short commutes. You don't have all those traffic jams.
Oh, well, it would take you an hour and a half to get a short distance in a place like California, but here in North Dakota, if you traveled that long, you'd be out in the middle of nowhere.
It's funny when you talk about traffic jams. We have a cattle ranch south of Mandan, but anyway, whenever we move cattle, we call the sheriff department, and then they come and they will stop traffic so that the cattle can go down the road for just a little ways. But it's like, I always call it our North Dakota traffic jam when you got a highway full of cattle and it's being led by a deputy sheriff. I think that's pretty cool.
It kind of was hijacked with COVID last year, but there really is something that's called North Dakota Nice, and it exists here. And you can see it manifested everywhere, everyday life.
Absolutely.
Schools are great.
It is. So I can see that you want to cough really bad, Patty. It's okay.
I do. It's like,
she's
why aren't they doing a close-up of somebody here so I can cough?
Yeah. So
anyway,
there are so many good things, and we have some other items that we want to talk about in the next segment. It's called the Peace Garden State. We have a beautiful peace garden. We'll go into that in the next segment. But there's a lot of things, a lot of attractions. We also have a lot of the biggest statues of anything. We have a big walleye in Garrison. We have the largest buffalo in Jamestown. The world's largest cow is in New Salem. I mean,
Sandhill crane in Steel.
Right,
yes.
Right.
And we have a Big Chief up at the Big Chieftain Hotel and Restaurant in right south of New Rockford, north of Jamestown.
Carrington.
Carrington.
You can even have breakfast under the
We're going to talk about all of that when we come back.
Right. With Ladies of Another View on Beck.
On Beck.
Today's households have more digital devices than ever before. More links to family, business, education, and entertainment. Beck Communications spent over 10 years building North Dakota's fastest fiber optic internet service. Beck Lightband Internet, outpacing speeds in large cities nationwide. Lightband Internet handles all your digital needs without throttling your connection to the world. Beck Communications, valuable digital connections in rural North Dakota.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve. Through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View. I'm back. And you at home don't realize, like, we can't cough, we can't sneeze, we can't even scratch our heads half the time. And so I kept waiting for a close-up on somebody, but it didn't happen, and Mary saved me. Thank you, Mary.
That's what I'm here for.
There you go. That's what she was hired for sure. So we're talking about North Dakota, and we're going to move into more than just the scenery and events. That a lot of people live in North Dakota because they're moving away from some other state. And I feel that way, and I have friends that have done that. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the craziness. There is a guy that works at BAC, Derek Bullowa. I see him down the hall once in a while. I don't know what he does.
Every now and then I see him.
Slacker.
Slacker.
I saw him washing the walls once, so I don't know. I think he keeps things clean and running.
That must be it.
It's smooth, like a well-oiled machine.
That's it.
But I want to, you know what? He just put his house up for sale in Tahoe. And I want to talk about some of the craziness there that we don't have here. So you see this house, and you see those trees. There's a lot of trees on this property. You might notice all the little nubs where the branches were cut off. Do you know, to cut a single branch, you need somebody to come out from the city, and they will let you know, they will mark the branches that you're allowed to cut. Wow. So they put a purple ribbon. Can you see all those little nubs?
Yes.
And sometimes they decide, no, you can't cut that branch. So he had to have permission for each and every branch. But it gets worse.
Wow.
So the house is for sale. They come in, the property management company or, the realtor, they take pictures. There's a picture you can't see. It's at the end of the driveway on the right-hand side. There's a tree breaking up the concrete. The roots are breaking up the concrete. He could not get permission to cut it down because he was told, you can drive around it.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
Yeah, only in California, not in North Dakota.
That's
No,
Nevada,
we have
That's
we've
Reno,
planted
Nevada.
like 400 trees on our property since we moved out there in the mid 80s. And if we couldn't trim the branches off, man, we'd have a mess. Oh my goodness.
Can you believe it? Because it's not like there's a shortage of trees. But
because Lake Tahoe is in a national park, or what is the rule? There's got to be.
It's because it's in California.
No, it's not. Lake Tahoe is in
Nevada.
Nevada.
Yeah. But it's
In the
right. I was
same
thinking of the
region of the
California
country.
craziness because that's for the next. I have something else. So Nevada, California, Oregon, Wyoming.
true.
There are places where you can't use your rainwater.
Yep, heard
You're
that.
not allowed
too.
to collect your rainwater. And even even in Nevada, at least in Lake Tahoe, you can't let your rainwater run off your property into the street or you get fined.
Isn't that amazing?
So you
How
have
do
to
you
have
stop it?
You have little collection sites, and they're.
But you're not supposed to collect rainwater.
No, it goes into the ground. It goes into the ground
Wow.
and it soaks it up. But
tell
okay,
you what.
Okay, so can I just say,
Go
a
ahead.
few years ago I was in D.C. Lobbying on some cattle issues, but it was another thing that we were lobbying for was the waters of the U.S. It's like the government is trying to take control of the water. They're trying to, if a stream is navigable, meaning if you can get a boat in there, then that's waters of the U.S. and then they technically own that. And so we did a great job lobbying against that because they don't own all the water. Once they own the water right-of-ways, our world we're in a world of hurt.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I think it's crazy that you can't collect rainwater like you want to collect it to put
And
in
that's
your
part
garden.
of the waters of the U.S. as I understand it, because you don't own that water.
So getting back to California, which I jumped ahead
Now
of
I'm
myself.
mad. Now I'm getting mad.
Oh, you're mad? Just wait, just wait.
It's
Wait
gonna
till you
change.
see this, but it's only in California. It's not in North Dakota. I just
Yet.
felt so free and in control of my own property after watching this. This is what's happening because of COVID. You cannot eject anybody from there, supposedly if you're a renter. But look what's happening to some homeowners there when they sell their house.
Everybody just is blown away by the fact that this could happen.
Every single I was dotted, every T was crossed, everything was agreed to.
Chris Taylor is the real estate agent who sold the house to Tracy and Miles from a man who wanted to sell immediately.
He needed $560,000 from the sale of his house in the next 2 weeks, and he called me on a Sunday. So in traditional real estate, there's no way of doing that unless the buyer's a cash buyer.
Since the house was free and clear and worth more than $560,000, Tracy and Miles felt it was a great deal.
Which took us scrambling to get everything we had, our life savings, put it together, hard money loan on top of it to make that happen.
All three have contacted authorities and tried to get the seller evicted. But because of the pandemic,
Have it fall under a COVID tenant situation of no evictions when it doesn't fall under that at all. This transaction went through in January 2020 before any of that. It isn't a renter who's getting thrown out. It's a guy who collected all of this money.
So there are
insanity.
On that video, there's a real estate attorney who said this is happening. Not,
Right.
This isn't just one story. This is happening frequently.
So just to kind of clear the story up, what has happened was these people went out and bought the house, paid cash. The seller got the cash, the money's in his bank account, and now he won't move out, and they can't move in because he's living there.
And it's been a year already.
And the state,
And it was before COVID, too.
The state will not help them. Law enforcement won't help them. And they are protecting these people. Like, why doesn't a police officer go to the door and say, you're out of here, and arrest him? They won't do
Maybe a
it.
throat punch would help him.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think this could happen in North Dakota. Do you?
No, well, I don't think so.
I think we'd get a posse together and
Well, there you go.
evict them.
For sure.
Right.
I mean, that's some of the reasons why people like to live here. We don't have creepy autonomous zones. People feel safe when they come here, and there's not ridiculousness in the law. You know, we are more free in this state than a lot of them. COVID is just a good example of the kind of tyranny that takes place in some of these states on either coast especially. We have just the best when it comes to availability of good people. I sold real estate for 16 years. I've never heard once of somebody that wouldn't get out, or there are a couple of times when they couldn't get out, but usually it was something amenable. They would sign an agreement to rent back from the person that was buying the house until some other instance
Yeah,
happened.
because he's not even paying rent.
I know, that's what I mean.
And he has $560,000 in cash in his bank, and he's not even paying them rent. He can afford to go to a hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no excuse.
He doesn't own the house anymore.
He doesn't own it. No.
It's not his.
And the whole eviction, if you look at the law, which I did look at it, I saw it on another video, it says it's for renters. But law enforcement won't help these people. Isn't it insane?
That is. In North Dakota, you can serve a 3-day notice. If they don't get out after those 3 days, that starts the court proceedings. And It's, we're talking days, not months and years. It's
I
think
feel
that
like
North
law
Dakota was
enforcement
just.
is very. Go ahead, Andrea.
I think that North Dakota was just a little bit smarter about it. Rather than putting a moratorium on evictions, they offer rent assistance instead. So they still can find a way to continue to make their rent payments and stay in their home. But if they're not doing that, if they're not getting the assistance that they need, the eviction's what's next.
And this guy isn't even a renter.
Yeah, that's the
He
whole
pulled a
thing that
fast
just.
one.
Yeah.
He's
And
taking
here's-
advantage of the system for sure.
Well, he didn't even let them care for the property.
Right.
I mean, they came to try to water the grass or the trees, and they sabotaged that. I mean, it's
Yeah, he
so
told them to get out.
ridiculous.
He
chased
made
them
them
away.
leave when they came to water the grass.
So she said the property was once pristine, but the lawn, the trees are dying because he won't let them take care of it. Like, where, in what world is this?
Makes you think this
happen?
person is not well.
Well,
But-
then maybe they need to send in a social worker. Isn't that what we're
Oh,
supposed to do?
yes, I
Don't
forgot.
call the cops, call a social worker. It might just work in this case.
And I know
Sounds
law
like
enforcement.
a California idea, Mary.
Well, I think it would work. It's in California. Call a social worker.
It's happening in Minneapolis, too.
I feel like we can count
I
on
think
our law
I just solved
enforcement.
it. I think I just solved that problem.
You should get a grant for this.
I should get a grant
Yes,
for that.
Write something
Yeah,
up
I'll-
first before someone steals your idea.
Before something.
So,
Oh, there's all those catches.
Now, I think the number one best thing about living in North Dakota is back news, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, woohoo! We get to have a show like this.
We do, and we get to real people, real news, and that's what it's all about. And it's like you're not going to hear all these stories on mainstream media, but you're going to hear them here. And if there's something else that you guys want to hear, just let us know. And you can always visit us online at beck.news, and we got it all. We'll cover everything for you.
And if you want us to cover it, let us know. We'll do it because they don't tell us what we have to do. We get to decide. And so, yeah,
We'll
we'd
be
like to
right
hear
back
from you.
after these messages on Ladies of Another
View on Beck.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your number one choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Indoor football is back in Bismarck. Bucks football season is right around the corner. Grab a friend or family member for a night of action-packed, hard-hitting entertainment. The Bucks open at the Bismarck Event Center May 8th as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. Catch the sweetest seats in the house right on the sidelines with VIP service at a Bucks turf table. Available now for single game purchases. Secure your tickets today by calling 701-595-0771. Bucks football, half the field and double the fun.
Beck Communications is hiring. Beck Communications is seeking qualified candidates for plant technicians in our Wheatland, North Dakota location. Beck Communications is an equal opportunity employer. To view the job details, visit www.beck.com. Bechtel.coop. To apply, email your cover letter and resume to careers@bechtel.coop. Beck Communications, making connections that matter.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View. I'm back. And you know what else we don't have besides palm trees and oceans?
Sharks, alligators.
that goes with the oceans.
Yeah.
We don't have volcanoes. And so there are actually a little bit of activity right now with volcanoes. In Guatemala, they actually closed the airport yesterday.
Wow.
Because a big volcano is going off in the center of the country. But that one is blowing a lot of ash everywhere. I wanted to show you this one here in Iceland because it's so interesting. Tourists are coming to look at it. Let's take a look and then we'll talk about it.
It is a spectacle of the natural world that is both beautiful and deadly. But this volcanic eruption at Geldingadalur has attracted big crowds. It's a tiny volcano by Icelandic standards, but close enough to Reykjavik to tempt hundreds to make a day trip to see for themselves the lava flow. The eruption follows 53,000 earthquakes in the region in the past month. Some have come to study it.
This is very exciting for us because we have been here since a bit more than 2 weeks. So we came really in Reykjanes to analyze deformation here.
While others are conducting more basic experiments. Yes, lava is hot enough for a fry-up, but one false move and breakfast is cancelled. Remarkably, bad weather has posed the greatest danger to the public so far, with rescue teams helping lost visitors back to their cars.
It is true that people have been camping there with their tent just to enjoy the view during the night. They are getting very close to the lava fronts, or they got very close to the crater vent, where indeed we know the activity could be really unpredictable, and the edges of these cones, they are quite unstable. I mean, they might collapse.
Scientists are closely monitoring the eruption, but say the lava could continue to flow for days or weeks. And Icelandic authorities are working to create an access route that'll let visitors enjoy this wonder of nature safely.
I think I'll stick with the Badlands.
I got to say, it is beautiful. It reminds me of the end of the night when you're at a big bonfire.
Yeah.
And you see all those embers in the bottom. But those people were pretty dang close.
Well, and I thought too, in America, there would have been like a 2-mile radius where you couldn't get up to. There would have been a safety barrier, and then attorneys there, you know, signing people up in case they got hurt. Where over in Iceland, you can just walk right on up. It's kind of...
Put your fry pan with the eggs and bacon in there and let it eat it.
Can you imagine camping there, though? She said people are camping.
Yeah, it's just
I would
crazy.
worry.
It would be warm.
Well, you don't know. I mean, how predictable are volcanoes? So, you know, the lava flow.
The whole thing could have just blown up.
Well,
I mean,
how
really
many earthquakes did they say they'd have?
53,000 in the last month.
Come on. That's crazy.
I know. There are actually 1,500 volcanoes around the world. And people die. In 2018, there were 2 different volcanoes where people died. One in Guatemala, about 180, 190 people died. And then in 2019, I think is the last one in New Zealand that went off, and there were a few, 22 people died there in 2019. But we have, what do we have for natural catastrophes? Thunderstorms in the summer.
Tornadoes, Tornado Alley, basically.
Right.
Well, in my business, it's all about the hail and the wind.
I used to be a hail adjuster.
Yeah, well then you know all about it.
So what years were you a hail adjuster?
98 to, I don't know, after my son was born. A long time.
And we don't have hurricanes. And Andre, you've never been there in Florida during hurricane season, have you?
Nope, I try to avoid that.
Yeah, you have the best
Yeah,
of
but
both
you
worlds.
don't avoid the alligators crawling up in your backyard. We avoid that.
There's no alligators in my backyard.
You don't know that.
They're just lying in wait. What about killer
it's
bees?
True. It is, it's true. The whole alligator thing does make the threat go jump in a lake a little more meaningful in Florida than it is in North Dakota.
Okay. Now, what about killer bees, Andrea? Do you have any of those?
I have not seen any killer bees.
Do you remember the big scare?
There's got to be something bad about Florida. What is it?
Murder hornets.
Murder hornets. Do you have any murder hornets?
Okay.
Yeah,
They are the
once things
Sunshine
get that
State.
weird, I leave here and come back up north. It'll be fine.
Okay.
I remember everybody was worried about killer bees, and it was one of the reasons I was so glad I lived in North Dakota. I thought, well, we don't have all these killer bees that were supposed to be so dangerous. And here, Andre's in Florida, and she hasn't even seen or heard about them.
No, we bring bees up here by the semi-load
We do.
in the spring, and we take them home in the winter. So it's, you know, we
It
don't
is
have
true.
any of
That's
those
a little
coming
known
up here.
fact for everyone. North Dakota is the largest producer of honey in the United States.
We are.
So that's kind of interesting. In fact, that's something else. We don't have much time left, but we are the biggest spring wheat, biggest sunflower seeds. There's a lot of commodities. Flax that comes right out of here, right out of North Dakota. So come on up and visit.
90% of the land of North Dakota is devoted to farming. 1/5 of the state's population is employed in agriculture, with North Dakota ranking as the nation's #1 producer of dry, navy, and pinto beans. And aren't we like #1 for sunflowers and
spring
canola
wheat?
oil?
Yep.
And we are one of the happiest states in the nation
We
as
are.
well.
Yes, we have been rated one of the happiest.
Yeah, like in the top 5.
Yeah, look how happy we are.
Yep. We work at it. But no, it comes naturally because we live in North Dakota.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's right.
we're
Right.
so glad that you guys came to join us. We hope that you've learned something about North Dakota along the way.
Right. We took it easy. We're gonna get to some harder topics once again, but every once in a while we have to take a break.
Yes.
And we invite you to visit us on TikTok and our Facebook page.
And Beck.News.
Beck.News. So we'll see you tomorrow on Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Bye-bye.